I completely forgot in the last video to tell you why Maine is so anti-RV, anti-van. And I would like to use the excuse that right now I'm cooking. My scratchy throat and mild fever blew into a very high-grade fever yesterday. On top of that, it's in the high 80s, so the van, by the end of the day, is somewhere in the 90s to sleep in. So I'm about fried with fever. It's one of those fevers where like your whole body hurts, your skin hurts, your muscles hurt, everything hurts. And then my sore throat got to the point where it was like painful to swallow and talk. And I think, you know, when you get that sick, you can kind of huff it out through the day, but sleeping is the worst because you just lay there and hurt. And I take, oh, come here, this knockoff Walmart Vicks Vapor Rub and just shove it up my nose and around my face to try to clear out the, like, you know, it like feels like you can't breathe because you've just got so much shit in your head. That's bad enough when you've got central air in your home. I don't even, you just don't sleep. And I'm not gonna sell you some hippy dippy bullshit about getting sick in a van where you like go ground up a ginger root and some chamomile and vitamin C and run it through your $800 espresso maker and you'll feel better. No, you're just gonna be sick and extra miserable because you're sleeping in a car. That's how that's gonna go. Side note, the medical community has never found any link to vitamin C curing any kind of cold. It's just another piece of bullshit for this morning. Okay, so now that we're all in a good mood, I am still, now someone's gonna jump my ass right now because I'm in my workout gear. I'm gonna go walk on a treadmill at like 0.5 miles per hour just so I can be in the air conditioning. Like, I have got to cool my body down. I am like on fire. I took a bunch of ibuprofen to kill my fever and my body was like, oh, this van is trying to break me. Anyway, also, side note about this stuff, I carry an ample supply. I don't really need to anymore, but when you work in news or police officers or firefighters know that if you know you're going to a scene where there's a dead body or like dead animals, you shove this stuff up your nose and around your mouth so that you can't smell it. Fun fact. All right, now onward. Maine, vans. Woo! So I had so much trouble with the van in Maine just because I kept getting booted out of all my spots. And finally, when I got towards Kittery and I met the illustrious Mike and Homer, Mike's daughter is a police chief in Maine. And so I asked him, like, what is the deal? And he said, and now this makes sense, that Maine has had so many people from New York, New Jersey come up into Maine because they're assuming that it's just moose and wilderness, kind of like what I thought. And they buy an RV and they come up into Maine and they set themselves up somewhere in the woods to cook meth out of their RV. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but we have dealt with that in North Carolina, and usually the RV catches fire, you know, because you're mixing a potion of like rat poisoning and lighter fluid and all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't know who came up with the recipe for meth, but and people put that in their body. So that makes sense because what's kind of going on now in the US is, you know, while heroin was king, methamphetamine has made a comeback and they have to have somewhere to cook it. And so I have seen that in other parts of the country. I have seen it in Wilmington, is that they use RVs. Because it's like the greatest clandestine drug operation. Who's gonna think? Now, you do it in a trailer park or mobile home park, yeah, that's like, somebody's gonna guess that. But you do it in an RV, if it gets a little seedy, you can move your location and just keep business rocking. So because of that, I don't know, why did I get all dark right there? Who cares? Anyway, because of that, they had they had the issue come up so many times that they really cracked down on RVs and said, if you're not going to be in a park, if you don't have a campsite, like, you cannot be here. So, so I guess somebody thought that I was cooking meth up in here. I'm cooking me up in here. That's it. And I'm sure by this point in the comment section, someone has said, just get a hotel room. That always comes up. Anytime I have a challenge in the van, people suggest a hotel room. You know how expensive hotels are? Furthermore, like those cheap, anything under like 120 bucks, those are the kinds of hotels that I shot all of my documentaries in. Drugs, prostitution, human trafficking, panhandling. Take a black light into any low budget hotel. It's like a Jackson Pollock painting of sperm. It's disgusting. You don't want to be in there. I'm not sleeping in there. I will die up in this bitch before I put my body anywhere near a comforter in a low budget motel. No. What was I talking about? Maine. Meth. Okay, circling back around. Yeah, so I'm probably a lot more sensitive to it because of my former career, since I worked so much with our drug agents, noticing what kinds of drugs are around a community. I've left that out of a lot of my videos because I don't want it to be a distraction, but I can't think of a single place I've been in where I have not seen what the prevalent drug is. And even in storybook locations, like Madison, Indiana, absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Meth everywhere. And I talked to some of the people there and they just said, yeah, you know, we've got a great town, but like it's just been an issue. And I know in Wilmington, we made all kinds of headlines for being #1 in the country for heroin. And some of that was, I would say, because of location, geography, and a couple other things. Some of it was because a lot of times media just makes up facts. They just do. But, you know, now we have a drop in heroin and a lot more meth in our community. And this is true of other places I've been. And I know in Wilmington, like, our leaders pat themselves on the back like, oh, our heroin overdose numbers are down. And I'm like, yeah, because most of them are dead. I mean, that's honestly, a lot of your users die. So I mention all this, one, to give you some perspective about why you will not be able to boondock in Maine, but two, every single town I've been in, big city, small city, I've been able to pick out what I think the drug of choice is there. And you don't need to go through all that, and it also doesn't need to take away your enjoyment of an area, but anywhere where you can notice drug activity, there's also petty crime. People will break a window to steal, you know, a whole quarter out of your console. That is the nature of addiction. Stupid crime, theft. So whatever you need to do is part of the reason why I have this beautiful wall back here. When you are building your van, when you are going out into communities that you're not familiar with, do not leave anything in the front seat. A lot of people get lazy with that in their hometown. They put stuff in the front, you know, it's their neighborhood, it's fine. Or if you go into a beautiful town on the road and, you know, you just think, oh, this is just so nice, kind of like how I did in Madison. There's still drugs and crime there. You're just not as sensitive to it. So never leave anything up in the front seat. And, you know, carry something while you're walking around, because chances are you stick out like a sore thumb that you're a tourist there. Drugs are everywhere, kids. That is just the nature. Why does this keep doing this? I don't have time to fight this cell phone. Look at this. I look ridiculous. Whatever, I said what I needed to say. I'm gonna shove some of this magic up my nose. Look, my phone's broken. Ha! And go try to cool down. That's why you can't boondock in Maine. Don't do drugs, stay in school. I'll see y'all later.